Every time I talk about her, people will say, well, she's so well experienced. Look at her. She was an attorney general and a senator and a vice president. And I'm thinking, have you never seen people who have failed upwards? Right? I've met a lot of people who've had a lot of experience, and they're fucking dolts, right? Yeah. They're gormless.
Oh, and, yeah, especially in Hollywood. You know right? You work on television. How many fucking executives have you run across? You're like, God. How the fuck did you get this job? And even the people under them don't respect them.
Yeah.
But yet they're in control.
For the time being.
Yeah.
Then they're all living in fear, right? They're all living in fear of losing that office and those snacks.
Yep.
And the assistant. And they will. They eventually lose it.
They eventually do.
Yeah, because but they're so paralyzed by fear, nobody's buying shows anymore. Right. And it's a remarkable industry right now. That's not what we're talking about, but it is fascinating because
it's been gutted by the internet.
Yeah, it's completely gutted. People they lived in fear before, but now nobody wants to greenlight anything. And if they do, they'll say, "Well, we'll buy 6 episodes."
Right?
Think, really? Okay, that's where your head's at. So
and then they're terrified of AI because AI is going to come along and that's going to take away who knows how many jobs. I mean, I think Hollywood is going to get hit first. Well, maybe not. No, probably a lot of industries are going to get crippled. Yeah. But I think Hollywood has got a real problem. They got a real problem with writers. They got a real problem with video, editing, all that stuff. It's going to be done through computers way quicker, way more cost efficient, probably better. You're going to get exactly what you want.
Yeah, it is shocking. I was a little bit late to the game, as I usually am on the technology side, right? And so I don't think I really understood just how invasive, or what's the word I'm looking for AI, in its abilities, right? Even now, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be exponentially better here shortly. But the ability to craft a very tailored message in almost no time at all, right? Is shocking. And so you're right. But where my head goes is because of, I mean, anybody with kids, I think, goes there, is that, what I worry about is, okay, so at what point do we just, humans don't know how to fucking analyze and write shit anymore, right?
Right.
And you'll have the people who, okay, sure, you got to program this shit and you've got to, curate all the stuff that it's picking up, but now it's collecting just AI generated shit, right? It's not like it's going out there and getting the world's greatest human literature, right, anymore. It's just scooping up all this shit that AI produced. But I worry about kids, right? And the ease with which they can now put together an essay or a college application or whatever the fuck it is. I think we're just raising maybe we're just raising the next generation of morons.
Well, definitely the next generation of people that are completely dependent upon technology. I mean, kids can't even write cursive anymore. They stopped teaching that.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre.
I know. That was always my favorite class. That was the only class I did really well in, was cursive. And phys ed. I did really well in phys ed.
I guess people think there's no reason to be able to write quickly because now you just type things out.
Yeah, you type it out. I still write. Emily's much better at it than I am, but I still write a letter occasionally.
Well, you have to write your name.
Yeah,
the
name's
in cursive.
Yeah, but have you ever seen kids write their sign? You say, here, sign this. They spell it out, not cursive.
So they don't have a signature anymore.
They don't have a signature, and that was a big day when you decided what your signature was going to look like.
Yeah, I used to practice mine.
Yeah, I did mine. I modeled mine after JFK's.
Really?
I really did. Yeah. I thought, because no one knows anyway, right? And so I just okay, John F. Kennedy signed it like that, and so I practiced for a long time just to get it looking like that. And that's a little piece of information I don't think anybody ever had before.
Now they do.
But
we're going to be definitely dependent. My kids have had kids in their class get busted for papers that they wrote on AI because they're so dumb they don't realize someone could just put the same prompt into AI and get the exact same verbiage.
Yeah, and they do have. I mean, professors and teachers have the ability to use certain apps that will scan and see whether these things have been pulled together by AI. But I think it's like a lot of other things. The offensive capability is going to stay ahead of the defensive capability, right? So you're gonna get better and better and better at and the defensive ability to judge what's AI generated in the world of academia is going to lag. But it is, I do think, and then going back to what we were talking about, the level of disinformation coming into November is going to be shocking for, I think, for some people, even if they haven't been paying attention. But a lot of people don't, because a lot of people don't have the time. But yeah, I think when we get there, when we wake up and the election results are announced, 3 weeks later.
Well, Pennsylvania's already saying they're not going to be able to do it on election night.
Yeah, what the fuck?
They used to. What'd you guys do?
Yeah.
We used to.
Remember? You go to
what
bed,
happened?
and you knew. You knew when you went to bed if you stayed up late.
Well, not only that, there's no pandemic, so why do we have all these mail-in ballots?
Well,
that seems kind of silly.
Yeah. We know what else seems silly, and I don't consider this to be voter suppression. Have a fucking ID to show that you're a U.S. citizen.
That's racist.
Right? I know. I apologize, but I do think it makes sense. You go to
100% makes sense.
I couldn't vote in another country.
You should not be able to vote here without an ID.
Yeah.
Just like you can't get a driver's license. You have to have your fucking birth certificate. You have to, we have paperwork.
Yeah.
It's there for a reason, because people are full of shit. There's a lot of fraudsters out there. And if there's a way to mitigate fraud in the most important thing that we do, which is choose a leader, it's one of the most important things we do. We exercise our right to vote. And if you're going to fuck with that, and if you are willfully making it so that it's easier to deceive people, that's crazy. That's crazy that we don't put a stop to that.
Yeah, you would think that would be the default position, is how do we mitigate the risk, right? And let's do it, again, fine, without voter suppression. Don't make it difficult for a particular community or group or whatever to vote. Of course not. But I don't think it's asking too much to just say, okay, proof of citizenship, please.